2000, January 1st, a dawn of a new millennia. As people celebrate the new millennia, Greece has one thing on its mind. I must get in the Eurozone. The Eurozone lets Greece use the euro as its currency, which is great for three reasons. 1. It had $147 billion of debt. This amount of debt is 102% of the GDP. GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. It's the amount of goods and services made. Gross just means all of the products. People don't find the concept of products gross. Their high debt to GDP makes it harder to pay back debt. So joining the Eurozone lets Greece borrow more money, since they're backed by the EU. They got all this debt by giving higher pensions, early retirement, and hiring too many government workers. While nice policies, they couldn't pay for these policies, which is why Greece has a lot of debt. 2. Their inflation would stay low. Inflation was high before and was only low since there was speculation that Greece would join the Eurozone. Before, inflation was really high. Greece doesn't want inflation to be that high, since it could cause hyperinflation, which destroys economies. The euro being controlled by the EU means that investors know that Greece can't print money, which would keep inflation stable. 3. It keeps their bond yields low. This would keep Greece's borrowing costs low and makes their high debt a bit less dangerous. Bonds are a type of loan to governments or corporations. They give back part of the loan every 6 months. Bond yields are the loan's interest. The bond yields being low makes their debt less dangerous, since they pay less for holding onto debt. This is why Greece had cut spending and revised their numbers to reach the 3% deficit. Greece couldn't join the Eurozone in 1999 since it didn't meet the Maastricht Treaty criteria. The two important criteria in that treaty are that the deficit needs to be less than 3% and the debt to GDP was 60% or less. Greece's reported numbers show that the debt to GDP was too high. Greece still needed to lower their debt to GDP to look like they're making progress, which will help them bypass that pesky debt to GDP requirement. That's when they got an offer. In December of 2000, Goldman Sachs offered a deal. They offered to swap 2.8 billion euros of Greek bonds for yens and dollars. Goldman Sachs also wanted a fee of 600 million euros. Greece accepted that deal. Now with their debt lowered, Greece can show their really legit 1% deficit to the EU, and they let Greece join the Eurozone, because gaining more political influence is totally worth the economic risk. Now that Greece is in the Eurozone, they can increase their GDP. They might be able to pay off that debt. There's just one problem. The Greeks don't like to pay taxes. Why? They were ruled by foreign powers for a while, and they don't want to pay taxes to foreign powers. They kept this attitude since they just started to rule themselves like half a century ago. This also made them only trust people they know, which causes a lot of corruption. You needed to know someone to guarantee getting a government job. It's not that different from the current job market today. Back then, that was crazy. That's why they hired too many government workers that don't do anything, because knowing someone can get you a job in the government. Despite these facts, on the surface, things look fine. But Eurostat thought that those numbers are too good to be true, so they kept asking for more accurate numbers. And in 2004, Eurostat asked Greece to show more accurate numbers. And it turns out that they lied about the 2000s deficit being 1%. It was 4%. Oops. So what did the EU do about this? Nothing, because France and Germany's deficit were 4.1 and 3.8 respectively, so it will be hypocritical to punish Greece. Also, it would show that inviting Greece to the Eurozone was a bad idea. It was a terrible idea for everyone. Let's just ignore this unstable tower. A financial crisis won't make this worse after all. Oh,